The memory from Strive that stands out the most to me is thinking about the hike. And there was one person in particular who I'm thinking about because she was absolutely convinced that she couldn't do it. She convinced herself that there was no way she was going to make it. She kept stopping on the trail. She broke down in tears at one point. And watching her push through because people around her were helping her, were cheering for her, were reaching out a hand to help her across the tougher parts, and seeing her actually break through her self-imposed barriers, finish the hike, and then the rest of the group is there. Everybody is cheering for her, and it just got me so choked up because I know what it feels like to be the person who's feeling doubt, who's feeling like they're maybe not as strong as everybody else around them. And I know what a few kind words of encouragement can mean for someone. And watching that happen for her and seeing her actually push past that point where she thought she was going to quit, and she kept going and she made it to the end with a huge group of cheerleaders there for her. And it just was very emotional for me to watch that because it just reinforces the power of the human spirit and also how impactful it can be to have a cheering section. And so it just reminds me to never underestimate the power of a bit of encouragement. So mountaineering is the sport I'm super passionate about. I love anything outdoors, but especially anything on a mountain. It doesn't have to be a crazy hard mountain. It can just be a pretty straightforward hike. But something that people might not see on the surface with me is that I still have so many moments of doubt where I feel like I'm not going to be fast enough, I'm not going to be strong enough, and I look at people that blow by me on the trail and think, oh my gosh, maybe this is not where I'm supposed to be. And it just takes me a second to get my head together and remember that I don't have to be the best, fastest, strongest person out there on the trails every day. I just have to be the person who will not quit when it gets really hard. I have to be the person that will keep pushing when it feels really uncomfortable. And I think maybe because I've been in the mountains for so long that people think it's easy for me. It is never easy for me. I struggle just like other people do. And I also still feel fear a lot because some of the climbs I do can be quite scary. And I'm never really able to get rid of that feeling of fear. But what I have to do is just embrace this mindset that you can be scared and brave at the same time. You can. In terms of what I'm striving for, well, I recently turned 60 and I would love to say that I'm not feeling my age. It's just a number. But I will tell you that I've had some injuries that have really plagued me over the past couple of years that have been really frustrating. And it's a bit hard because I can't do the things that I did in my 30s and 40s and even 50s because of some of these injuries. And I'm striving actually to give myself some grace and offer myself some grace and go easier on myself and realize that I don't have to be able to do the same things that I was doing when I was 30 or 40 or even 50. Because as long as I'm getting out of my comfort zone and I'm pushing myself and I'm trying new things and I'm surrounding myself with the right people, I feel like that is my strive. So again, it doesn't have to be the fastest, strongest, craziest activity. It just has to be something that makes you stretch a bit, surrounded by good people. To me, that's pretty much the ultimate strive. In terms of how I view community and connection these days, well, let me tell you that at 60 years old, I'm definitely on the back nine. And I realize that there is nothing more important to me in this world than people and dogs. But it's the human connection that really brings me the most joy in life. And I think about some of my accomplishments throughout my life, and I realize that standing on top of a big mountain doesn't change the world. What changes the world is the way that we interact with one another every single day. And so having community and having connection is more important to me than ever because someday I'm going to leave this earth, hopefully not too soon. But when I leave, what I hope that people will say about me is that I was a good friend. I came through for people when I said I was going to come through, and I was always there for the people that I care about. And there's nothing more important to me than that. And that's why I think community, to me, is the most valuable thing. So after a few decades in the sport of mountaineering, my perspective has really changed quite a bit because when I first started out, I was definitely that person that was like, must reach, summit, right? No matter what, I just was putting one foot in front of the other and I really wanted to get to the top and, of course, get back down alive, right? Because the summit is always the halfway point. Getting back down is always the goal. But I used to be so focused on getting to the top of the mountain. And what I realized is that standing on top of Mount Everest really doesn't change the world. Mount Everest is a pile of rock and ice. That's what it is. So standing up there for a few minutes isn't nearly as important as the lessons you learn along the way when you're fighting like hell to get up there, because it's those lessons that you learn along the way that are going to help you on every mountain that you climb after that, because life is always going to be full of mountains, right? And you need that perspective and you need those lessons to help you keep going on every mountain that you climb in life. And I really hope people will embrace the struggle, because it's that struggle along the way that helps you overcome all of the challenges that you face in the future. So for me, it's not about standing on the top of a mountain. It's those lessons you learn along the way and carrying all those lessons with you so you can tackle any other challenge that comes your way. I think that really kind of sums up the Strive mentality, right? It's about chasing the big dreams. It's about pushing yourself further than you ever thought possible. It's about continuing to put one foot in front of the other, even when it feels uncomfortable. And it's about doing it with a phenomenal group of people around you that are going to cheer for you every step of the way. That is Strive.